Welcome to the Silenced History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos. When science held apocalypse in human hands. In 1945, physicist Harold Agnew carries the plutonium core destined for Nagasaki. This 14-pound sphere would soon destroy an entire city. This chilling photo captures humanity's most terrifying scientific achievement. When love defied impossible odds. In 1965, Stephen Hawking marries Jane Wilde 2 years after his ALS diagnosis and given 2 years to live. Their radiant smiles belie the devastating prognosis. This beautiful photo captures love choosing hope over medical certainty. The con artist who fooled the world with invisible nonsense. In 1935, Hungarian engineer Stefan Nagel poses beside his elaborate invisibility machine. He claimed this contraption could make people disappear entirely, fooling wealthy investors. This photo proves how sophisticated equipment can disguise simple deception. Before Winnie-the-Pooh conquered the world, there was just a boy and his bear. This is the real Christopher Robin with his actual teddy Winnie, named after a bear at London Zoo. His father, A.A. Milne, immortalized their playtime, creating literature's most beloved character. This innocent photo shows how one child's imagination became a billion-dollar empire. When denial met devastating truth. In 1945, captured German soldiers watched footage of concentration camps, their faces showing shock and horror. Many claimed ignorance of the atrocities committed in their name. This forced viewing shattered illusions about their honorable war. This unflinching photo documents the moment an entire nation confronted its unthinkable crimes. When love conquered war's darkest wounds. This 1921 wedding shows a blind WWII veteran marrying his bride, surrounded by fellow wounded soldiers. His bride chose love over sight, proving devotion transcends physical scars. This rare photo captures how war survivors rebuilt their shattered lives. This 1944 photograph shows Soviet soldiers at Majdanek concentration camp, observing remains discovered after liberation. The image reflects their solemn reaction while documenting evidence of the camp's tragic history during World War II. When war found room for tenderness. In 1952, a U.S. Marine feeds milk to an orphaned kitten in Korean trenches. Soldiers often adopted strays for companionship amid brutal fighting. This touching photo proves humanity survives war's darkest moments. The moment everything changed forever. On September 11, 2001, President Bush learns of the Twin Towers attack while reading to Florida schoolchildren. His expression freezes as his chief of staff whispers the devastating news. This historic photo captures America's innocence ending in real time. At this moment, American politics would never be the same. September 1960. Kennedy and Nixon shake hands before the first televised presidential debate. Nixon refused makeup, appearing pale, while Kennedy looked confident and tanned. Radio listeners thought Nixon won. TV viewers crowned Kennedy victor. This handshake proves how television forever changed democracy itself. One teenager's courage closed an entire pool. On June 8, 1958, 19-year-old David Isom broke the color barrier at a segregated Florida pool. Rather than allow integration, officials permanently shut it down. This powerful photo shows how bravery exposed racist absurdity. In 1905, bananas arrived in Norway for the very first time, creating a sensation among amazed crowds who had never seen this exotic tropical fruit. The curious onlookers gathered at railway stations, witnessing vendors prepare to introduce an entirely new taste to Scandinavia. When death-defying met absolutely insane. Ivan Unger and Gladys Roy play tennis on airplane wings mid-flight with the Flying Black Gnats stunt team. One wrong step meant certain death thousands of feet above ground. This death wish photo shows 1920s daredevils redefining human limits. When death was just another day at the office. In 1979, a worker fixes the World Trade Center's antenna, dangling hundreds of feet above New York with minimal safety equipment. This breathtaking photo captures when workplace safety was optional and heroes were everyday workers. Defying gravity with 18 souls aboard. On January 10, 1946, this Sikorsky R-5 helicopter carries 17 passengers plus pilot, setting aviation records in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Women wave as the overloaded aircraft demonstrates dangerous lifting capabilities. This historic photo captures helicopters proving they could revolutionize transportation. When giants danced with towers. In the 1930s, massive airships like the Hindenburg carefully approached mooring masts for passenger boarding. These delicate docking procedures required precise timing and weather conditions for safe operation. This impressive photo captures the golden age of luxury air travel before airplanes dominated the skies. When revolutionary met communist royalty. In 1963, Fidel Castro meets Khrushchev at the Kremlin, smoking a cigar while wearing 2 Rolex watches, symbols of capitalist luxury. This rare photo exposes how ideology often clashed with personal indulgence. This is the moment America met its future enemy. In 1959, Fidel Castro appeared on NBC's Meet the Press, months after seizing power in Cuba. He calmly denied being a communist while secretly planning Cuba's Soviet transformation. This rare footage captures one of history's most consequential lies told on live television. When history touched the Revolutionary War, Hannah Stilley Gorby, born in 1746, became the earliest born person ever photographed. She lived through America's founding and survived into the photography age. This remarkable photo bridges 2 centuries of American history. Imagine witnessing history shake hands with itself. In 1938, President Roosevelt sits among the last surviving Civil War veterans at Gettysburg's 75th anniversary. These men had fought brother against brother decades earlier, now gathering as living bridges between 2 Americas. This rare moment shows how quickly ancient history was actually within living memory. Before drones, there were flying spies with feathers. German inventor Julius Neubronner strapped tiny cameras to pigeons, creating the world's first aerial surveillance system. These feathered photographers captured enemy positions automatically. This remarkable photo shows how nature became humanity's first remote reconnaissance technology. When computers needed human spiders to survive. In 1958, this engineer wires IBM's room-sized computer, connecting thousands of cables by hand. One wrong connection could crash the entire system. This photo reveals how today's pocket computers evolved from mechanical nightmares. Before spacesuits, there were these terrifying underwater monsters. In 1907, New York divers tested the Iron Man atmospheric diving suit with electric charging and pressure protection. The diver could work at crushing depths while breathing surface air. This haunting photo shows how early deep-sea exploration looked more like horror than science. This rare behind-the-scenes photograph from New York's Latin Quarter nightclub in 1958 captures performers playing chess between shows, revealing the hidden intellectual lives of entertainers who were often underestimated by society. The image documents a private side of nightclub culture that establishments rarely allowed the public to see. When education came with humiliation. In 1948, George W. McLaurin sits segregated from his University of Oklahoma classmates, forced into isolation despite paying the same tuition. The 68-year-old doctoral student endured this daily degradation to break barriers for future generations. This shameful photo exposes how separate but equal was neither separate nor equal. When humanity became architecture. In August 1964, over 3,000 workers who built Chase Manhattan Bank posed together on the building's skeletal frame. Each floor packed with faces, they transformed steel and concrete into a living monument to collective labor. This extraordinary photo captures the forgotten army behind New York's towering skyline. Before databases, America's secrets lived in endless filing cabinets. In 1944, FBI workers navigate massive fingerprint archives containing millions of records. Each card was hand-filed and cross-referenced, making investigations slow but thorough. This vast photo reveals how justice once depended on human organization. When moving day required actual horsepower. In 1908, San Francisco workers relocate an entire Victorian mansion using horses down Steiner Street. After the 1906 earthquake, undamaged homes were moved to new lots rather than demolished. This incredible photo shows how neighborhoods literally rolled to safety. When defeat became a parade of humiliation. On July 17, 1944, 57,000 German prisoners marched through Moscow after their crushing defeat during Operation Bagration. This massive Soviet offensive destroyed Army Group Center completely. This stunning photo captures history's largest prisoner parade. When teenagers became legends of liberation. In August 1944, 18-year-old Simone Seguin fights German forces in Paris with her rifle and trademark shorts. Known as Nicole Minet, she captured soldiers and derailed trains. This iconic photo proves young women became France's resistance backbone. When artillery became a symphony of destruction. In 1944, Soviet gunners fire their 152mm howitzer during Operation Bagration, which shattered German Army Group Center in Belarus. The massive bombardment moved the front line 600 kilometers west in just 2 months. This dramatic photo captures the moment Stalin's war machine turned the tide forever. When art became medicine for the soul. In 1918, sculptor Anna Coleman Ladd creates prosthetic masks for French soldiers with severe facial wounds. She meticulously crafted personalized faces to help these men rejoin society without shame. This powerful photo reveals how compassion restored dignity to war's forgotten victims. When sunlight becomes your enemy. 8-year-old Freddie McIntosh wears a full sun protection suit due to extreme light sensitivity. His rare condition made ordinary childhood impossible. Playing outside meant severe burns. This heartbreaking photo shows how medical conditions can imprison children. This 1940s medical photograph shows Dr. Walter Freeman demonstrating lobotomy procedures, which he performed on over 3,400 patients, despite lacking formal surgical training. Medical professionals observed these controversial treatments that are now considered ethically problematic. This disturbing photo reveals how medical practices evolved through trial and tragic error. When quack science met desperate vanity. In 1925, Berlin, Dr. Heinz injects live rabbit fluids into a patient, promising rejuvenation through this bizarre treatment. This dangerous pseudoscience often caused infections or death. This disturbing photo exposes how medical charlatans exploited human desperation for eternal youth. In 1982, artist Agnes Dens shocked Manhattan by planting 2 acres of wheat in the financial district, creating a powerful confrontation between nature and capitalism. Authorities tried to prevent this radical environmental statement, later attempting to erase it from historical records. When poverty turned sleep into death rehearsal. In Victorian London, the desperate paid 4 pennies to sleep standing in wooden coffins at homeless shelters. Unable to afford beds, they leaned on ropes. This haunting photo exposes how society prepared its most vulnerable for death nightly. When blood meant nothing to the dictator. In 1941, Stalin's own son Yakov Djugashvili was captured by German forces during the USSR invasion. Stalin refused prisoner exchanges, declaring, "I have no son named Yakov." His cold rejection sentenced his own flesh to death in captivity. This tragic photo proves how totalitarian power destroys even family bonds. When courage faced the impossible moment. In 1942, a captured Soviet spy smiles defiantly at Finnish forces in a snowy forest. Knowing his fate was sealed, he chose laughter over fear. This haunting photo captures how human spirit can triumph even in defeat. When friendship transcended the barricades. In 1972, 2 childhood friends unexpectedly meet on opposite sides of a demonstration. One protester, one officer. Their embrace cuts through political divisions and riot gear. This powerful photo shows human connection surviving society's deepest fractures. When America finally answered the space race. In 1961, Alan Shepard prepares for his historic Mercury mission, becoming the first American in space. His 15-minute flight restored American pride and launched the moon program. This pivotal photo shows America entering the space age. When hockey was a blood sport. In 1966, Terry Sawchuk's face shows 16 NHL seasons without protective masks. His scarred features reveal 400 stitches from pucks and sticks at deadly speeds. This haunting portrait reveals how athletes once sacrificed their faces for sport. The defector who sparked the Cold War. In 1945, Soviet cryptographer Igor Gusenko hides behind a white hood during this Associated Press interview. He just fled the Soviet embassy in Ottawa with over 100 classified documents, exposing a massive spy network. His revelations led to 29 arrests. This photo shows the moment Cold War paranoia became reality. In 1967, utility worker Randall Champion received life-saving assistance from colleague J.D. Thompson after an electrical accident. Thompson performed emergency resuscitation. This heroic photo captures one man's courage saving another's life. When hell's breath swept across no man's land. Near St. Quentin in 1918, German soldiers release a messenger dog as poison gas clouds roll toward enemy lines. These animals carried vital communications through deadly chemical warfare. This haunting photo captures how even war's innocent victims couldn't escape humanity's poison. When poison clouds became weapons of war. In 1937, Japanese forces wear gas masks during chemical attacks in the Battle of Shanghai. This marked early use of banned chemical weapons in the Sino-Japanese War. This disturbing photo exposes how nations ignored international law for conquest. When camouflage met creative desperation. In 1915 at Gallipoli, Anzac forces captured a Turkish sniper disguised as a tree. This ingenious camouflage attempt shows soldiers using nature for tactical advantage. This remarkable photo proves warfare drives creative survival instincts. When an entire town believed in miracles. In 1933, citizens of Beauraing, Belgium, gathered under umbrellas, desperately waiting for the Virgin Mary to appear. Children claimed they saw her at this viaduct near their Christian school the day before. This haunting photo reveals how collective faith can transform ordinary places into sacred ground. when democracy crumbled on Vienna's streets. In 1934, Austria's Heimwehr paramilitary forces patrol with armored cars against political opponents. These fascist militias helped destroy Austrian democracy, paving the way for Nazi annexation. This chilling photo captures Austria choosing authoritarianism over freedom. In 1991, coalition forces targeted retreating Iraqi vehicles on Kuwait's Highway 80 during the Gulf War's final hours. The aftermath sparked debates about military ethics and proportional response. This aerial photo documents how technology transformed conflict's devastating reach. When faith met war's final moments. In 1962, a Catholic priest comforts a dying soldier during violent conflicts in Latin America. This powerful scene captures the intersection of spiritual duty and human suffering during turbulent political upheavals. This haunting photo reveals how religious figures became witnesses to history's darkest chapters. This remarkable 1915 photograph reveals the massive wine supply prepared by French forces for the Gallipoli campaign. Thousands of barrels were stockpiled as daily rations for troops, reflecting the military's belief that wine maintained soldier morale during the harsh peninsula conditions. This photograph reveals the harsh working conditions in early 20th century factories, showing women and children operating dangerous machinery under close supervision. These cramped facilities prioritized production over workers' safety. This powerful photo documents the human cost behind industrial advancement. This 1920s classroom photograph reveals the harsh disciplinary methods of early 20th century education, where teachers used strict physical punishment as a standard teaching approach. The image captures an era when such methods were considered normal educational practice, contrasting sharply with modern teaching philosophies. This 1930s photograph shows researchers testing experimental spinal devices on patients during sleep studies. These mechanical treatments were later discontinued due to safety concerns and potential complications. This unsettling photo reveals how medical ethics evolved through questionable early practices. This rare 1905 photograph shows children posing beside the colossal forestry building at Portland's Lewis and Clark Exposition, constructed from enormous logs before mysteriously burning down in 1964. Destroying evidence of early timber industry secrets. During the Vietnam War, medical personnel treat wounded soldiers in an improvised field hospital surrounded by swampland. Nurses worked in impossible conditions, saving lives amid constant danger. This powerful photo reveals healing persisting in war's most hostile environments. When brothers in arms became brothers indeed. During the Korean War, soldiers find solace in each other amid brutal fighting and freezing temperatures. War stripped away everything except bonds between men sharing unimaginable hardship. This touching photo reveals human connection becoming the only sanctuary in hell. This striking 1916 photograph reveals the massive scale of World War I artillery operations, showing thousands of spent 105mm shells from a single day's bombardment. The image documents the industrial nature of the conflict that military censors often kept hidden from civilian populations back home. In 1943, photographer Alfred Eisenstadt captured this surreal aerial scene of Army aviation cadets and their dates in elaborate ball gowns socializing during wartime, blending romance with military training in ways authorities later censored. When justice returned to the scene of crimes. This 1947 photograph shows Rudolf Höss, former commandant of Auschwitz, at his trial near the concentration camp. The proceedings took place at the site where he had overseen systematic persecution. This historic photo documents the pursuit of accountability for wartime atrocities. when defeat became a final choice. This 1945 photograph shows Deputy Mayor Ernst Kurt Lissow and his family in Leipzig City Hall during the final days of World War II. Facing the arrival of Allied forces, many Nazi officials chose desperate measures rather than face justice. This somber photo captures how totalitarian regimes ultimately consumed even their own supporters. This 1945 photograph shows German civilians viewing documentation of wartime events that had been concealed from public knowledge. Allied forces revealed evidence that challenged the population's understanding of recent history. This powerful photo captures a moment when entire communities faced uncomfortable realities. In this 1940s courtroom photograph, two women hold dolls during what appears to be a psychological evaluation or legal proceeding. These unconventional therapeutic tools reflected early attempts at behavioral assessment. This strange photo captures how mental health treatment explored unusual approaches. Survivors of a concentration camp show raw emotion after liberation in World War II. The image captures pain, relief, and disbelief, highlighting the human cost of war and the resilience of those who endured unimaginable suffering. Behind every smile lies unimaginable pain. This 1925 Paris banquet honored French soldiers with severe facial injuries from WWII. These men, called gueules cassées, broken faces, lived with disfigurements that made them outcasts. Society struggled to accept their altered appearances after their heroic sacrifice. This haunting photo reveals the forgotten cost of war's glorious victory. This heart-wrenching photograph captures an extraordinary bride emerging in her white gown from bomb-damaged ruins, symbolizing defiant hope and determination to celebrate life even amid war's devastating destruction that threatened to extinguish all joy. When humans carved mountains into dreams. In 1934, Hoover Dam construction transforms the Colorado River Canyon into an engineering marvel. Workers dangle from cables, pouring concrete into this massive structure. This breathtaking photo captures humanity literally reshaping Earth's landscape. Imagine smiling while surrounded by 6 million corpses. In 1935, this visitor casually holds a candle among Paris catacombs' endless skull walls. These tunnels house centuries of Parisians, relocated when cemeteries overflowed. This chilling photo shows how death was once just another tourist attraction. Every image you've seen today carries secrets that textbooks overlooked and history forgot to mention. If you're fascinated by the untold stories behind familiar faces and forgotten moments, hit subscribe and join us every week as we reveal the hidden narratives captured in history's most powerful photographs. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like this video.